Welcome back to News 46. ISIS-affiliated militants captured more than 300 workers and contractors at a cement factory in Syria. Al Bidayah Cement Company said the militants were holding the workers and contractors from the plant near Damascus. Witnesses say they saw about 125 abducted workers being put on buses headed toward areas more firmly under ISIS control. An official said about 150 to 250 factory employees were missing. Civilians have been caught in the middle of Syria's 5-year-long civil war. ISIS has been accused of committing atrocities such as systematic rapes, killings, and abductions, and using the Syrian people as human shields. The conflict has left more than 250,000 people dead, more than 1 million people injured, and more than 11 people displaced in and outside the country. Here is this week's court report.
In this week's court report, Brian Patrick Hearn now faces a total of 20 counts involving sexual assault, lewdness, and first-degree kidnapping regarding alleged incidents with 2 minors. Hearn was in court again Wednesday morning during a very lengthy preliminary hearing to face the Category A felony charges that were formally filed last week. After an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old stated 30-year-old Hearn had been sexually abusing them for several months, which according to the victim's mom is alleged to have been between March 2015 and March 2016. Court proceedings paused Wednesday as the defense and prosecution discussed who should be eligible for their children to pick as their emotional support and supervisor during the children's testimony in court. At issue, defense attorney Jonathan Nelson said the biological father has no custody, citing abuse and neglect allegations. Their biological mother does not have custody at the moment either. Mr. Nelson also said the children's grandmother was present when these current allegations against Hearn were brought forward. Once a decision was made and the grandmother was chosen, everyone was sent out of the courtroom because the prosecutor, attorney Katrina Samuels, requested a closed courtroom during testimony of the children. While waiting, a few court attendees who are relatives of the alleged victims got very emotional in the Justice Court lobby with passionate pleas and tears even flowing. The alleged victim's mother spoke with News 46 about the case and refuted the allegations against her husband, the alleged victim's stepfather.
Why do you think the girls gave this statement that your husband sexually abused them?
I think they could have dreamed up something or seen something on TV, because we've caught the girls watching inappropriate things on TV with sex scenes in it. But we put parental locks on those, and we took their TV away and everything, and then they had to go in the living room, and we all had to sit down and watch TV with them so they can be watched and observed of what they are and are not allowed to watch on television.
Did you get a chance to ask Mr. Hearn if he actually committed the crimes?
I did.
Crystal Hearn says Brian Hearn claims he'd never hurt his stepdaughters. Mrs. Hearn also told News 46 she can't have any contact with her children right now, and that Crystal's stepmom and her biological dad are the kids' legal guardians for now. Crystal also said that after Wednesday's proceedings, it's possible she might get supervised visits with her children. Once proceedings for Brian Hearn resumed Wednesday afternoon, the prosecution requested Hearn's bail be increased from $230,000 to $400,000 to reflect $20,000 for each of the 20 counts Hearn now faces. His case was also bound over to district court on Wednesday. Hearn remains in custody with an arraignment hearing scheduled on May 13th. This has been your court report. I'm Eunette Gentry for News 46.
Thanks so much, Eunette. Last week, we met with Steve Cantwell, owner of Green Life Productions, who introduced us to his unique style of cultivating medicinal marijuana through the science of permaculture. There was an obvious color issue with the interview, and News 46 would like to express that there was nothing wrong with the camera, that in fact it was the grow lights in the facility that was making everything pink. These are high-intensity LED lights, and we had to wear green glasses to protect our eyes, and it almost canceled out the pink and everything. News 46 color corrected this week's interview close to what we were seeing through the green glasses. Steve Cantwell explains to us about the lights, their color, and the partnership with Illumitex.
So when we first designed the facility, one of the main things that we had to consider was the heat of the desert. So we partnered with Illumitex, which is the LED lighting company that by far has some of the nicest LEDs on the market. These lights were actually designed to replicate the same spectrum of light the sun puts off. So they're actually designed for growing. They weren't just repurposed for cultivation. And then yes, they put off far less heat at half the energy consumption. So these are compared to 1,000-watt high-pressure sodium lights, but they only use about 520 watts, so they're about half the power, and then they use about they put off about an eighth of the heat, so we save on cooling as well. And we don't have to replace any bulbs. So we don't have any dangerous bulbs that can explode or burn out that we're constantly replacing and throwing away. These last for years and years and years on end.
Stephen Cantwell's education spans over several years of learning different techniques from the chemistry of hydroponics to his current organic living soil style of growing and cultivating marijuana. He has reached out to various consultants over time to help improve his knowledge and techniques for growing a premium and bountiful crop.
It's been a long process, years and years of growing this plant in multiple styles. When I first started, it was hydroponics, so I learned more of the chemistry aspect of it. And then now, as I evolved as a home grower into different styles, I've eventually gotten to the organic side of things. The living organic soil is kind of the upper level of organic growing, if you will. We've actually reached out to several consultants over the years. I've had several local growers in Las Vegas I've worked hands-on with. So it's been years and years of training under lots and lots of individuals who have lots of experience and training and passion towards this. So it was inevitable for me to try this style, and it's been exciting. It's one of the most funnest ways to grow cannabis, I believe. It's more work as far as labor intensive. It's more like farming, but much more reward, I believe.
This is Jason Koblenz reporting for News 46.
Very cool. Nice to see that color correction. The Moose Lodge hosted a fundraiser for Nye County Search and Rescue on Sunday.
This is our fourth one that the Moose Lodge is doing for us. We are a nonprofit organization, and so we depend on fundraisers, and this is one of our biggest ones that we do.
What do you guys use the funds for?
We need our funds for just different, like for example, right now we need a new roof on our building, and we need supplies, and that's what we do. We take care of ourselves.
Equipment, because you guys are available 24/7 for anything that the Nye County Sheriff's Office calls you for.
Yes, we are. We're available 24/7, and anytime the deputies or Sherwin Worley needs us, they call us out, and we're there for them.
Probably been over 20 years.
And so how many members?
Currently we have about 20 active members. We do have some that aren't as active.
And so you guys use your own vehicle?
Some do. We do have our own vehicles that get donated. Valley Electric has donated some vehicles, but most people use their own.
So when you guys are called to action, they just have a main number to call you from the Nye County Sheriff's Office, and then you guys just get the whole crew together for whatever type of situation's going on?
The sheriff has a liaison with the search and rescue. They contact them. They in turn do a page out with cell phones and call everybody individually.
I have a special love for search and rescue. In my earlier, younger, leaner days, I was with Metro Search and Rescue for about 3 years. Spent some time there and worked on the MGM fire and the Hilton fire and multiple accidents and crashes up in Red Rock Hills.
They're super vital to the rural community as well, because we have a lot of people that go up in the hills. We seem to be sending them up there a lot.
Well, certainly is a resource to the Sheriff's Department and a resource to families to know that there's as many people out there doing what they can do to help find their loved ones and track down the issues and problems.
And they've even been called for car accidents to help with victims, to search for weapons, to search for lost people, to search for, unfortunately, some bodies.
Yep. body searches are the worst, as well as walking along the freeways trying to find a weapon that may have been thrown out of a vehicle or a purse, some kind of evidence that they can use in commission a crime. So we're very grateful for the work that they do and the time that they put in, all volunteer hours, and they're just a great group of people.
When we come back from this break, we're going to speak to a national senior queen and find out what's happening in your entertainment report.